The story begins late in the morning. Junwoo wakes up and finds a note from his family explaining they had to leave urgently, but they've left him some money for groceries. Instead of going to the store, Junwoo decides to play video games online with his friends for his stream. Their fun is cut short when a player urges him to check the news because something major is happening. As soon as Junwoo turns on the TV, the usual show is interrupted by an emergency signal, which then cuts to a reporter announcing the apocalypse. An emergency text arrives on Junwoo's phone, and when he looks out the window, the sight is terrifying. Zombies have taken over the city and are attacking humans, causing panic and chaos. The streets are in complete disarray, with vehicles crashing into each other, leading to small explosions. A girl is calling out for her mother, and when they reunite, the girl starts eating her. Junwoo hears noises from the corridor, confirming there's chaos and violence inside his building too. When he opens the door to the hallway, his neighbor Sang-chul bursts in, begging for refuge because his zombified brother has taken over his apartment. Junwoo tries to force him out, but Sang-chul keeps fighting back and blocking the door. Ultimately, Junwoo allows him to use the bathroom on the condition that he leaves once he's done. Then, Junwoo hears on TV that people are transforming due to a rapidly spreading infection. Symptoms include aggressive behavior and eye bleeding, leading to cannibalistic tendencies. Junwoo grabs a knife and points it at Sang-chul when he comes out, noticing a scar on his hand. Sang-chul insists he's fine, but his eyes suddenly turn red, and he starts convulsing as his veins darken. He snarls and attacks Junwoo, who manages to push back and kick him out of the apartment. After a struggle, Junwoo locks the door. Through the peephole, he watches a large zombie attack Sang-chul and drag him away. Blood seeps under the door into the apartment. Junwoo blocks the front door with his refrigerator. He tries to call his family, but the operator informs him that the call cannot be connected. Fortunately, he receives a text from his mother, assuring him they are fine but cannot come home. She advises him to stay inside and survive. On TV, the reporter says people should have enough food and water for 60 days, making Junwoo regret not going to the grocery store. He rations his food and writes, "You must survive," on a post-it note that he hangs on a family picture. The next morning, a professor appears on TV explaining that zombies are created by a mutated viral infection affecting the right side of the brain. Junwoo still can't make calls, but sees many people on social media asking about their loved ones and posting their addresses under the hashtag #alive. Hoping for help, Junwoo takes a picture of himself holding a sign with his address and posts it with the hashtag #IMustSurvive. He also watches a video of a man hanging outside the window of a tall building with his phone on a selfie stick, trying to get a better signal. The video ends abruptly when the man falls. The TV report announces that infected people are asymptomatic for a few minutes before the transformation. Junwoo sends out his drone to survey the other apartments in his building, discovering that zombies have infested almost all of them. During this, he accidentally makes a phone call to his father, draining the drone's battery, forcing it to return. To distract himself, he plays an online game, but soon the internet goes down. That evening, a car alarm outside the building wakes him up. Looking out the window, he sees a cop shooting at her fellow officers who have turned into zombies. Unfortunately, she runs out of bullets, and while reloading, the zombies leap on her, biting her multiple times before dragging her away to a street swarming with zombies. Junwoo yells at the zombies to distract them, but they only pause momentarily before returning to devour the cop. Suddenly, the large zombie from the previous day starts pounding on his door, eventually managing to push the refrigerator aside and break in. Junwoo rushes to push back, but he's not strong enough, so he flees to the balcony and jumps over it. The zombie follows, falling over the railing and crashing to the ground while Junwoo clings to safety. He sees the horde of zombies from before and notices the cop has also transformed. Afterward, Junwoo takes extra precautions to lock the door, but sadly realizes that the zombie destroyed most of his food supplies when it broke in. That night, he records a video for his followers, expressing his terror about the situation. On day 7, Junwoo starts drinking his father's liquor and covers the windows with colored paper to avoid being seen from outside. TV news reports that the infection spreads through blood contact, so people can remain safe if they avoid bites and stab wounds. The zombies have enhanced strength and sensory abilities, with many retaining the capability to perform normal human behaviors like opening doors and doing their former jobs. After seeing a tempting commercial, Junwoo eats a bowl of ramen, only to notice Tu laid a post-it note stating it was his last meal. Frustrated, he knocks over his water bottle and discovers there's no running water in the apartment. He ends up sucking the few drops from the table. On day 10, Junwoo records another video expressing his frustration with the TV messages urging people to wait at home. Desperate to leave, he remembers an emergency app with a radio show that could be used with an audio jack as an antenna, but he only has wireless earphones that on day 15, Junwoo dances around the apartment to cope. Then, he hears a noise and is shocked to see his family returning. This moment of happiness is brief as he realizes he's hallucinating, causing him to break down. He collapses to the ground, losing all hope until he's startled by a voice message. Junwoo hears his mother's voice telling him to stay home, but the static makes it hard to understand the rest. Copying the guy from the video, Junwoo stands on the balcony with a selfie stick, listening to the message while zombies wait for him to fall. Unfortunately, the message ends with a zombie attacking his family, suggesting they might be dead. This causes Junwoo to snap, and he starts destroying objects in the living room, but it's not enough to cope with his frustration. He steps outside and starts hitting a zombie with a golf club until it's dead. As he yells for more, he spots a zombified Sangchul around the corner. Though Junwoo isn't afraid of just one zombie, his yelling has attracted the attention of a horde that he runs to the elevator and opens the door, only to find more zombies inside. Terrified, Junwoo flees and hides just in time. After the horde disperses, he makes his way back to his apartment. A new, blind zombie appears nearby, so Junwoo waits until it walks away before rushing inside and locking the door. The zombies hear the noise and gather outside. Then on day 20, Junwoo rushes to the window when he hears explosions and learns that the city is being bombed. Believing it's the end, he makes a video saying hello and goodbye before standing on a stool to end his life. While he waits, a laser beam suddenly shines into the apartment, pointing at the word no on a sign. Junwoo struggles with the rope until he frees himself and reads the message. Don't be a __. Looking out the window, he discovers Yubin watching him with binoculars from her apartment. Using hand gestures, they agree to meet at 7. That a look into Yubin's place reveals she's organized and equipped with survival tools, including a booby trap by the door and a water-sharing system for her plant. The next morning, Junwoo oversleeps and peeks out the window at 11. Yubin takes pity on him and comes out to greet him. Using gestures and their phones, they exchange names and a few words. Suddenly, Yubin hears a noise and tells Junwoo they can meet at 7 again. She grabs her axe and finds a zombie caught in her trap. After gathering her courage, she kills it. That night, it starts raining, and both Junwoo and Yubin put out pots to collect water, with Yubin placing her plant outside as well. She notices the 8th floor of Junwoo's building is empty. The next morning, Junwoo wakes up early but feels unwell due to hunger. Yubin notices and tries to throw a rope to his balcony using a ball, but it falls to the ground. Junwoo sends out his drone with some rope, and once it's securely tied on both sides, Yubin sends a bag with food and a note saying, "Eat slowly." At that moment, Junwoo sees a zombie firefighter grabbing the ball and pulling the rope. The table on the other end is dragged through the apartment, hitting Yubin and knocking her out. With the table stuck against the railing, the fireman starts climbing the rope. Junwoo throws empty bottles to stop him, but none hit. He then sends out the drone, flying it near the fireman to make him fall, even scratching his cheek. The zombie swats at the drone, so Junwoo carefully dodges every movement. When zombies start pounding on his door, Junwoo gets distracted and the drone falls, but he regains control just in time. Unfortunately, the firefighter zombie manages to grab the drone and destroy it. Before he can continue climbing, Yubin wakes up and cuts off his hand, causing him to fall. While Yubin checks her bruises in the mirror, Junwoo flashes a message on his phone saying stay strong. Later, Junwoo notices that his food supplies are running low again and reminds himself that he must survive for his family. After covering his feet and head, he leaves the apartment in the middle of the night. The corridors are filled with bodies, including Sang-Chul's, so Junwoo quietly takes his keys, aware of a nearby zombie. Entering Sang-Chul's apartment, Junwoo takes food from the fridge, some headphones, a jacket, and walkie-talkies. He then notices something on the bed and finds a dead woman under the covers. At that moment, Sang-Chul's zombified brother attacks, tackling Junwoo to the ground. Junwoo uses the dead woman as a shield, allowing him to roll away and start running. The zombie chases after him, but Junwoo throws a metal bar to slow him down and locks the door on his way out, safely returning to his apartment. After having a snack, Junwoo cuts the headphone wires to use the jack as an antenna, but the radio app isn't working. He sends the bag back to Yubin with a walkie-talkie and some of Sang-Chul's food. They chat for a while, offering support to each other, and Yubin reveals she had also considered ending her life. During lunch, they prepare noodles simultaneously to pretend they're eating together. They spend the whole afternoon talking, and Yubin confesses she's afraid of heights because she fell while climbing as a child. Suddenly, they hear a noise and think it's raining, but they discover that all the zombies in the area are running simultaneously. As the zombies storm through their respective buildings, Junwoo and Yubin try to stay quiet on the ground. However, Yubin accidentally knocks over a shelf, attracting the zombies' attention. A terrified Yubin thinks it's over, but Junwoo remembers that all the units are connected and calls Yubin's neighbor. The ringing phone draws the zombies away from her door. Since staying on their respective floors is too dangerous, Yubin tells Junwoo about an empty apartment on the 8th floor, and they agree to meet there. While Junwoo wants to make a plan, Yubin uses a table and some rope to jump through the window and land safely on the ground. The zombies immediately go after her, but she shows impressive skills, either dodging them or fighting them with her axe. She even uses car doors as weapons. When she's about to reach the other building, she grabs the cop's gun. A zombie jumps on her, but before it can bite, Junwoo hits it with his golf club. Now together, the duo fights off zombies as they make their way to the building, using abandoned cars for cover. When they finally get inside, they close the door behind them and rush into the elevator just before the zombies break the glass. They soon reach the 8th floor and start looking for an unlocked apartment. Suddenly, they hear a noise and realize there are zombies in these corridors too. Yubin runs to find an open door, while Junwoo blocks the corridor with some objects to buy time. At that moment, a masked man emerges from a door. After pushing Yubin into his apartment, the man throws a gas explosive at the zombies, allowing Junwoo to run and enter the apartment as well. Once the man locks the door, Yubin expresses her wariness since the place was supposed to be empty. However, the man appears friendly and even shares his food and water with them. He also shares some big news. Since he's on a high floor, he sometimes catches the radio signal and has learned that a rescue team is coming soon. Yubin and Junwoo are overjoyed, but Junwoo suddenly passes out because the man had put a sedative in the water. Since Yubin only took a sip, she's just dizzy. The man manages to tie her hands and drag her into another room, where he locks her up with his zombified wife. The blood on the walls implies she's already eaten her own baby. Pulling a rope from outside, the man releases his wife, explaining he just wants to feed her so she can survive like him. That moment, Junwoo wakes up and points a gun at the man, asking him to reconsider. However, the man refuses to talk and drops the rope, so Junwoo rushes to catch it. While the man looks for a knife, Yubin continues to struggle against the zombie, who pulls hard enough to make Junwoo lose the rope. Junwoo immediately rushes to the door, but can't open the lock, and the man pushes him away. Yubin puts a baby's blanket against the wife's face, and the men worry when they suddenly hear no more noises. The man finally opens the door, and Yubin pushes his wife on top of him, causing them to fall. The zombie then bites her husband, who hugs her and says, "I love you." Before he can transform, Yubin shoots them both to death. The shots attract the attention of the zombie horde on the street, who immediately rush into the building. Yubin gives Junwoo the weapon and asks him to end things, but he initially refuses. She changes his mind by saying they should die as humans instead of becoming zombie food. A crying Junwoo gets ready to shoot, But at that moment, they hear a noise. The rescue helicopters are finally coming. Determined to survive, the duo throws another gas explosive into the corridor and pushes a few zombies out of the way to reach the stairs. Unfortunately, a large zombie group quickly comes after them and grabs Yubin. She defends herself with her axe, and Junwoo uses a bicycle to block the way, allowing her to crawl out of the pile. Junwoo convinces her to head to the roof while he buys time. Yubin quickly makes her way up, but can't see the helicopters anymore. After a lot of pushing, Junwoo manages to push the zombies a few steps down and runs upstairs, blocking the roof door with some ladders. Realizing the choppers aren't around, he starts yelling, "We're still alive," as they both cry. Suddenly, the zombie horde bursts through the door, and Junwoo opens fire, but he only kills a couple of creatures before running out of bullets. Thankfully, a helicopter finally shows up, and the soldiers have enough weapons to keep the zombies at bay, while Junwoo and Yubin get in the chopper to escape. Once the helicopter leaves the city, Junwoo's phone gets a signal again, and he receives messages from his family saying they're fine. Watching the city from afar, Junwoo remembers all the posts he saw on social media about survivors waiting to be rescued, and imagines his "I must survive" tag being changed to alive. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more videos.